Welcome back. This is the second video in the series of videos on how to build your own digital vault. It's quite a fundamental one. It's going to be a long one, and to give you all the details precisely, I'm going to look at from time to time my notes, and we'll go from there. In this video, I'm going to cover 4 areas, very major, very fundamental, hopefully not too boring areas on how to build a digital vault. The first one is the obvious one, which I briefly covered in my introductory video, is what to include in your digital vault. This is not going to be a comprehensive list, but I think it's going to be a good start. Second one, in which format, and here I mean which file format shall we favor, shall we consider. The third one is how to start collecting all these digital assets, all this data. There is an aspect which is not straightforward, so I would like to spend a few moments on that. And last but not least, the fourth one for today is you also need to start estimating, to get a rough estimate on the overall file size or the overall size of your digital vault. So that's something we need to start doing today. Okay, let's start with the first one, what to include. As I mentioned in my very first video, I highlighted a few items, but let's get more into the details. A very obvious one, your family photos, either digitized or already in a digital format. Your family videos, obviously. Some people may forget, but audio files, some audio recordings, conversations, some audio notes, this is quite important. And then we'll go into the written domain, documents, your plain text notes that you would like to keep forever, then you should include it in your digital vaults. But very important official documents like birth certificates, university degrees, title deed from the land registry so that you can prove that you own a certain property. This is quite important. Also a property sales contract that you bought or sold some properties, so that's quite important. Your health records, insurance information, medical history might be quite crucial for you. Some financial records about your investments, about your taxes, quite important. The next big area is what I call just secrets. It may be funny, but pun intended, these are the real secret stuff, secret things, is your password database. And here I need to also highlight that password managers are sometimes tied to a vendor, tied to a brand, to a company which may not exist in the future. So you may want to export your passwords from a password manager, which immediately makes it insecure. An export, like a plain text export from a database, from a password database, is by definition becomes insecure the moment you export it. So this is why security and encryption, the whole digital vault, is very crucial, very important. A password database may also contain how to access your social media accounts. So that's kind of a subset of your passwords and your kind of online credentials. Software licenses, digital certificates that you want to pass on, copy of proof of some purchased digital assets. So anything you bought in a purely digital format, you have to have a proof that you purchased it, and it may live forever. This license may live forever, so you want to keep that. Also, some cryptocurrency wallets go into this realm of the secrets. But other digital assets too, like if you purchase the domain name and you want to keep it, you want to pass on the information in this digital vault on how to access it, how to manage it. and who owns it, basically. If there's any certificate related to a domain name, then you should keep it, you should have it in this vault. And last but not least, ebooks come to mind if they are something that you can save, you can preserve, and you can transfer to someone else, then you should keep them. Anything else, please leave it in the comments below if I may miss something and I may need to consider, you think I may need to consider, then please leave a comment below. Now, second part, which file formats? There is a massive world of information out there around it, huge debates online and this, but my take is very simple. If you're building a digital vault, you have to consider what you have right now. So converting from one format to another format makes sense and it sounds like a sensible advice, but I would only recommend it doing if there is a really huge benefit of doing so. So when it comes to photos, obviously if you have JPEG files, I know they are so-called lossy, which means that important digital information is already lost when you are saving a JPEG file as your image, but it's not visible to the human eye. But it might be very difficult to process that image further. But if you have JPEG images, then that's a good starting point. There is, though, a recommendation which is called, how I pronounce it, TIFF, which is the tagged image file format, which is almost always recommended on photography forums by people and some preservation enthusiasts, that this is the format of the future and this is a future-proof format. So let's not forget, let's mention here TIFF as well. Now, if you have a digital camera, a kind of a semi-professional digital camera that can record photographs in the RAW format, what they call the RAW format, this is very beneficial because that format contains the most information about that moment that you took that photograph. So everything, every information, every pieces of information, every bit is in this RAW format. There's one big problem though with RAW formats, is that they are usually tied to your brand of camera. So basically Sony, Nikon, Canon may have, and they do have different RAW formats. They're not universal, and who knows how long they will be future-proof. So keep the RAW formats if you have those, but just keep in mind that this is not a universal format. The next one and the last one for photos is what is called the DNG, which is the digital negative. Now, I believe this is also tied to Adobe. So it's a vendor-specific format, but also I believe that their whole purpose of inventing this format and kind of promoting this format was to make it future-proof. So please also consider the DNG format, that you may need to convert some of your crucial, critical photographs into this format to make it future-proof. Now, videos, it is even crazier, but the general rule of thumb is that MP4 is here. It's very popular, it's here to stay. So if you've got MP4 video files, then that's what you've got. So you need to include it in your vault. When it comes to audio files, same story. MP3 is super popular, but it's a lossy format, which means that as soon as you convert an audio file into MP3, you lose data along the way. Now, if it's not important to you, because that was the whole concept behind MP3, is that to the human ear it's not audible, it's not recognizable, that actually there is data loss in the file. This is pretty close to what most people can hear and appreciate is what is the MP3 format. Now, if you are super conscious of data loss, then there is FLAC, if I'm pronouncing it properly. I will leave the abbreviation up somewhere on the screen there. So that's another good way of converting your file to, or actually saving your files in the FLAC format. And I know it sounds very old school and very basic, but many people recommend the WAV format, which is a very old, classic, traditional Mostly Windows-based systems supported it in the first place, but this is a very basic format. So if you have some WAV files, then please keep them. They're pretty good. They're good. Now, when it comes to written documents, notes, there's nothing best than plain text files. On top, if you do care about the formatting on certain documents, there is this open document text format, or ODT, which is again one way of like keeping, preserving, saving your Word documents maybe into this format, or exporting them into this format, and this ensures vendor neutrality, and kind of this future-proofs some of your formatted texts or notes. But in general, for documents, probably the best format is PDF, which is the portable document format. And but I would also recommend, and this is what I also recommended back then when I recorded the Go Paperless video series, is that if you save a document as a PDF, you should also keep the image file of that document intact. And finally, lastly, in this category is ebooks, which is again quite a few proprietary formats out there, but EPUB is a recommended future-proof format of such documents. So please try to convert your ebooks into the EPUB format. Before we move on, again, is it worth converting your massive amounts of files? Well, it's only worth it if you already know that the format is reaching its end of life. So basically it's no longer going to get supported, and if it's easy to convert. Other than that, I would just go with what you have got. Next one, quite an interesting topic of starting collecting these digital assets of yours. So you may think that, oh, that's easy because I've got my laptop, I've got my computer, my mobile phone, so I just copy all the files together into one place. That's all good, but have you thought about all your social media accounts? So you should start, and this is like the second phase of start collecting this data, you should start requesting exports of your social media account data from the web. So you can do it in Google, I think it's called Google Takeout. You can request it from Facebook, and all of your social media accounts, you need to start downloading your data to have a copy. Because this is quite crucial that there are digital assets that you own, that's on your laptop, but there are some digital assets that you uploaded once and you want to keep a copy yourself. So these are the two things. And finally, for this video, the last topic is about an estimation of the file sizes roughly, in order to be able to assess how much space would you need. Because most people maybe don't need terabytes of cloud space or kind of preservation space, to keep in mind. But to help you, I'm going to provide my details, my data up in the screen. So roughly how many files do I have in each category, and roughly how much space they consume today. And we also need to think about, and that's going to be my next video's topic, or one of the topics, is how we can estimate the future space requirement in this case and in this project of building a digital vault. I'll stop here for now. Thanks for watching. I hope this was useful too. I know it was very packed video, information packed video. I'll leave you with this. I'll see you in my next one. Thanks for watching.